All right, Mr. Jordan here again. And like I told you in the previous video, we will be practicing on our rest pyramid. But before we get into that, I wanted to show you how with each of the notes that we've learned throughout the year, each note has a rest that has the same beat value. The only difference is one of them makes noise and the other one would not. So if you look up here at the top, you see here's the whole note, which was at the top of our note pyramid. It was 4 beats of sound. So it'll be something like, I made a sound, I held it for 4 beats. And you could think of it as kind of like the opposite when you think of a whole rest. The whole rest, it looks like a top hat, but it's upside down. Whole rest is 4 beats of silence. So that would be, you have the half note, which kind of looks like a lowercase d, 2 beats of sound. Half rest, which is the top hat, right side up. Half rest, 2 beats of silence. Or quarter note, which we should know these fairly well. Quarter note, 1 beat. Your quarter rest, also 1 beat, but of silence. Then you have the eighth note. Now here's what 1/8 note looks like. I know you usually see it connected to another one, especially how we used to do it in class, but those are 2/8 notes when you see 2 of them connected. When you just have the 1 right here, then that's just 1/8 note, and that equals 1/2 a beat. So this quarter note is 1 beat. When you split that in half, then you have the fraction here, and you have 1/2 beat, meaning that you would need 2 of these to make one of those. And just like you need 2/8 notes to make 1 quarter note, you also have eighth rest, which kind of looks like a fancy number 7. The eighth rest, 1/2 a beat of silence. And you need 2 of them. Since this is 1/2, you need 2 of these to make 1 full quarter rest. You'll see that in just a second when I show you the rest pyramid. Down here, kind of looks like the 8th note, but we added an extra flag. And when you have 2 flags connected to it, then you're looking at a 16th note. These were the ones that we clapped really, really fast that were at the bottom of our note pyramid back when we were still in school. 1/4 of a beat. Because what it's doing is taking that 8th note and it's breaking that down 1 step further. And that's what gives it 1 beat, 1/4 beat of sound. And you need 2 of those to give you 1 of these. Just like you need 2 16th notes to give you 1/8 note, with rest, you need 2 16th rest, 1/4 beat of silence, 2 of these. And I like to think of these as like fancy letter F's, but they're backwards. You need 2 16th rests to equal out to 1/8 rest, 1/4 a beat of silence. So every note that we've talked about has a rest that matches what their value is. The only difference is the notes make noise, the rests are silent. Now on this side, you have the rest pyramid. Kind of looks like the note pyramid, but instead of the notes, we substituted the notes for the rest. The whole rest is at the top, just like the whole note had 4 beats. The whole rest has 4 beats of silence. When we break that down to the next level, 4 broken down in half would be 2 sets of 2. 2 half rests. You see how the top hat is now right side up. 2 half rests equals 1 whole rest. We take the 2 half notes and we break that down again. So this would be like 2 plus 2. You get your quarter rest. 4 quarter rests. 1, 2, 3, 4 equals 2 half rests. Put those together equals 1 whole rest. When we break the quarter rest down, now we get our 8th rest, the fancy little 7s. We need 2 8th rests because each one of them is 1/2 a beat. We need 2 to equal 1 quarter note. 1 quarter rest. 2 more to equal 2 quarter rests. 2 more or 6 8th notes to give us 3 quarter rests. 8 8 rests gives us 4 quarter rests, which all equals back to the whole rest at the top, which was 4. Finally, you have your 16th rest. These are the ones with the double flags, look like backwards fancy cursive Fs. 1/8 rest is 1/2 a beat. So when we break that down a step further and add a flag, we now have the quarter rest, which is 1/4 a beat. 2 quarter rest gives me 1/8 rest. 4/16, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Let me start over. 2/16 rest gives me 1/8 rest. 4/16 rest gives me 2/8 rest. 8/16 rest gives me 4/8 rest. 12 gives me 6. 16/16 rest gives me 8/8 rest, which equals the 4 quarter rest, equals 2 half rest, equals 1 whole rest. So everything goes back to equaling 4. 16th eighth rest, just like 16, I'm sorry, I said it wrong. Too many numbers. 16/16 rest, just like 16/16 notes, equals 4 beats. 8/8 rest, just like 8/8 notes, equals 4 beats. 4 quarter rest, just like 4 quarter notes, 4 beats. 2 half rests, like 2 half notes, 4 beats. 1 whole note is the same as this 1 whole rest, equaling 4 beats. So they pretty much function the same way. Once again, the only difference is the notes make sound, the rest do not. And depending upon which rest you're looking at, that's how many beats that you should give it. All right, guys, take care.